Hey Feasters, and welcome to episode 158. And today we are going to work on figuring out how much you need to make in your freelance business so you don't make the mistake that most freelancers do. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Ask Rezzz podcast. I'm Jason, and I'm here to help you get past those bumps in the road, those struggles, those things that hold you back from building an amazing and profitable freelance business each and every single day. The mistake most freelancers make after having worked a full-time job is to take their annual salary and break that into an hourly rate. This is a mistake for so many reasons, one of which is what you pay in taxes here in the US as a W-2 employed person is very different than that of a 1099 self-employed person. Now, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but what I want you to know is in this episode, we're going to break out your expenses, your revenue, and figure out exactly what you need to take care of to make the money you need to make. Here's the thing. You are going to need to cover things like healthcare, Social Security, and a whole plethora of other things that oftentimes your full-time employer has covered for you. So before you take the leap from full-time into freelance, or if you have already made the leap and wonder why you feel strapped for cash, this episode is going to shed some light for you. The biggest nut to crack in this whole thing, and the harshest reality for a lot of people, is your personal expenses. Your personal expenses can vary from what your groceries cost, to how much your mortgage or rent is, to how much you spend on a pair of jeans. Be honest with yourself when exploring this, because this is the space where you don't want to actually shortchange yourself. In fact, if you over budget here, you'll be better off. Things like food, shelter, family expenses, taxes, travel, hobbies, emergency funds, car payments, toys, whether for your kids or for yourself, and so on, are all of your personal expenses. You can extrapolate these numbers just by looking at your credit card and or bank statements. In fact, I encourage you to do so because you don't want to be short here. Be honest with yourself. If you enjoy spending money, then take that into account. Don't shortchange yourself. Take your monthly number and then multiply it by 12 to get your yearly personal expenses. It may be a scary number, but do it. You don't want to shortchange yourself. Next, you'll need to figure out the cost of running your business. This could be things like your laptop, hosting for your website, office supplies, contractors that you hire, organizational filing expenses, professional fees for your accountant and lawyer, and other business equipment. If you're just starting out, you're probably not going to know what these numbers are, so ask around to other people to get a ballpark figure on what these look like. Don't let people, namely your friends and family who aren't accountants, tell you that, hey, it's just a write-off. Who cares what it costs? A write-off does not mean that you get everything back. It's often a percentage-based thing that gets taken off of your taxes at the end of the year. So you want to keep your expenses as low as you can, especially when you're starting out, so that your profits, what actually goes into your pocket, is as much as possible. Get your estimated business expenses per month and then multiply it by 12. Very similar to the personal expenses, and I hope you know what 12 means. There is 12 months in that year. Now, so all kidding aside, after those two areas are figured out, think about what you would like to make for the business. If this number is short of your expenses added together, time to up your revenue goal. Here's the tricky part. Just because the business brings in $100,000, that doesn't mean that's what you make. What you make is a percentage of the total revenue minus expenses. When you're thinking about the total revenue, it's best to think about your taxes first. You want to set aside about 30% to cover your taxes. Could be less, could be more, depending on the year and things like that. But that's a good round number to cover yourself. If you want the total revenue of your business to be $100,000, then make that number more like $130,000. This way you know you have your taxes covered before anything else. I don't want to dive too deep into the accounting here because then that would be really like a 20-minute, 30-minute podcast. But if you want, check out a fantastic book on this. It's Profit First by Michael Michalowicz. I'll put the link in the show notes because his name is not easy to spell. But in that book, it tells you how to think about your business and your numbers by taking your profit first before divvying out to the expenses. This idea is great because it automatically gives you money in your pocket first and foremost, and then puts a restriction around how much you can actually spend on your expenses. Once you have your total yearly revenue number, you'll want to figure out what that looks like on a monthly, even a weekly basis. This way, you can figure out exactly what you need to do today so that you can reach your revenue goals by the end of the year. This is a process known as activity-based selling, where you know the leading indicators that can have a positive effect on reaching your goals rather than paying attention to lagging indicators like getting a payment that you don't have control over. In tomorrow's episode, I'll expand upon this a bit more. But for now, figure out what you're charging per project and how long that project will take. For the sake of easy math here, let's assume a project takes 1 month. Divide your total revenue by 12, then take that number and divide by the average revenue per project. I get it. There's a lot of math here, but go ahead and rewind this so that you can get the big picture. Because what happens is that final number will give you the number of projects you need per month. So go ahead, rewind. I'll wait. You could go ahead and do this exercise. Just take out a piece of simple scrap paper and do the math. You'll figure out what you need to do. Hopefully that number is realistic for you, because if not, you'll either have to raise your rates, get more clients, or cut back on expenses. If you have a question, ask Rezzz. That's me, by leaving me a tweet at Rezzz on Twitter, or head on over to askrezzz.com and sign up for the newsletter there. You could go ahead and do so, and I'll send you a customized playlist of Ask Rezzz episodes that is specifically tailored for you. Until next time, it's your time to live in the feast.